Welcome to the Hooch, where the only place more messed up than your hosts is the barracks on a Friday night or the VA. So get ready to stand by for your weekly dose of toilet humor and shenanigans from your fellow veterans, Coy Mack and Michael Grizzled Grunt Harris.
And good evening. Welcome, folks. It's Coy Mack here and the one, the only Michael Harris.
On what is going on, America? What is going down? What is going down?
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay?
Only on
Still
Thursday.
gets me every time.
Only on Thursday.
Only on Thursday. Okay, but that's fine. Anyway, sorry, had to get out of my system. Anyway, welcome to the show. We got a fun show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about Maxine Waters being crazy, as usual, because everybody knew Maxine Waters was crazy.
Yeah, she is.
And the awkward moment when the Biden economics advisor doesn't know actually how money works or why we print money. Because that's who you have in charge of the United States government, is people have no idea what they're doing. Also, we've got the Trump trial update. Stormy Daniels and them saying that because Trump has violated his gag order, he's probably going to jail. Maybe we don't know. They caught the road runner, and now they don't know what to do with it. Situation.
I mean, they've been saying he's going to jail for how long now?
A long time.
Yeah, a couple of years now. They've been saying he's going to jail. So not happening.
Yeah, it's been a fun week. There's also a lot of big news coming out of the weekend, game wise, which is actually a good cultural victory, and I can explain why. Coming up, we got Helldivers fighting against Sony and the corporate overlords, and they won, which is amazing. It was like a whole weekend thing. It was great. And then also Soft Week is happening in Tampa, Florida, with the government. What did the reporters say? As the government and defense industries come together in like synergy. They do that thing, that synergy.
So what you're saying is absolutely nothing got accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just making sure.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of people coming together to share their cool toys. So
look what I drew.
Right. Look what I could do. Like that whole business. Since we're talking about it, let's go ahead and bring it up. So what it is that it's a week-long conference where the defense industry comes together with the government and special forces and probably other special forces around the world, and they show off all their cool toys.
I see. Wow.
We're gonna see who's the best. We're the best, the fastest, the bravest. Look at the little drone. Just
a drone. Oh.
So, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, it kind of looks kind of cool. That might be fun to go to just to see all the cool toys. But then, like, that's just the guy fantasy in me. Like, I wish I could see all the cool toys, but then I know all of my tax money is being wasted on this garbage.
Yeah, it's a waste of tax money to create it. It's a waste of tax money to put on that show. Those companies didn't pay to put on that show. That's taxpayer dollars that paid for all
it's subsidized. You know what it is.
All that bull crap that they're going to show us that we're never going to get, we're never going to use, we're never going to see.
Oh yeah,
just a waste.
We'll give you some examples of some of the wasteful stuff here in a minute. But like, yeah, I want to see cool toys they're bringing up. I see the jets that we never use. Paragliders, really?
Oh, it looks like. Yeah, cool. Somebody jumping out of a helo in water.
You did it in competition? Parachuting. Yes.
Paragliding. Oh, normal. No, water landing.
Splish.
Oh, yeah.
Those look like fun. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's going on this week.
Black Hawk.
It's like,
yeah,
they're just having all kinds of fun.
It was just a show of force.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like they don't put on military parades like third world countries. We just do them at conventions instead.
Yeah, like SHOT Show.
Yeah, SHOT Show. Another good example.
Yeah.
I mean, but that actually has like civilian counterparts that are actually trying to sell their gear too. So I guess that's fine. I mean, at least it's personal money. It's not taxpayer money. Like if taxpayers are paying for it, I'm a little upset. That kind of
taxpayers pay for everything.
I know, right? They always pay for everything. Anyway, so I think this is the one with the reporter saying how why they come together.
We're here in Tampa for the Global Soft Foundation Soft Week. That's Special Operations Forces. Tampa is appropriate because it's the headquarters of the Special Operations Command. And what Soft Week is essentially is an opportunity for the government and industry to come together. Now, the government brings its program managers. What program managers do is they have certain portfolios, be that aviation, think helicopters or small planes for soft, weapons such as small arms, or even more complicated things like shoulder-fire rocket systems, or even things like cyber or different types of communication such as satellite communication and different types of equipment that the soft community might need. So those government folks come and they basically say, here's what we need to solve our problems. We're having these issues with communications or these issues with weapons, and industry comes and pitches their solutions. So this is kind of an industry.
They pitch their solutions and then overcharge them by a crap ton. There's a video I got to show after this of a Congress member asking how much bushings cost.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, and it was very interesting. You know, his answer. It's about,
like, oh yeah, we're getting raked over the coals.
Fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, we're one of the more advanced militaries in the world. So a lot of the equipment that we have now that's helped us all the way through 20 years of fighting dudes in caves in the desert is still pretty effective. You know what I mean? So a lot of these programs, a lot of these ideas that they're pitching, I think will be a complete waste of money when we can be putting that money towards more training, you know, upgrades and equipment. But you don't need to come up with a whole new system that hasn't been battle tested. But you know, we know how. Yeah, but we know how it works. A lot of this stuff gets pitched that hasn't been tested, so we got to, you know, go to war in order to get it tested.
Right, like they did with all of our PPE, right? So like all of the vests and plates that we had to test and the different variations of it. So I was in when they decided to test the HESCO barrier version, because you had the what was it, the OTV or whatever the one before it was, like the really light one.
Yeah, the IOTV.
Yeah, probably that one is, and then you had the what we called the turtle shell, the HESCO barrier one that was like full of just nonsense.
Yeah, all the bull crap on it.
Yeah, and so they had the side plates, they had the full thing and the neck and just like and the dick guard, the whole 9 yards, right? It was like wearing a turtle shell. And in Afghanistan, you didn't need that because it was in the way. It was always in the way. And so they started transitioning to plate carriers in Afghanistan.
That's how it was when we went to Afghanistan. So we got issued the IOTV, the big one you're talking about with all the bull crap on it. And then we got issued a plate carrier. My IOTV did not come out of my freaking sea bag the whole time. Even though we brought it, we always use plate carriers. Plate carriers are more practical, especially for infantrymen. You know, we're on the move. We want to be a little lighter. We're already carrying enough extra stuff with ammo and frags and, you know, aid kit. We're carrying all this extra stuff just on our chest. You got to add another between 60 to 80 pounds more that you're carrying. Then they wanted to throw that IOTV on there with extra plates.
Yeah, that's the one you're talking about. So yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
That's the IOTV.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the previous one was that was they used in Iraq a lot.
That was the was it a flak vest? No, the flak vest was the old one.
It was a flak. It was the one kind of in between the flak, what they were using the flak in the 90s and then what they were using in the early 2000s for the invasion.
I know it's because it was the one that opened up in front with the Velcro, like
yeah, that one. Yeah, and not this one where you had to flip over top of your head.
Yeah,
right?
Then because it was that one. First they had the flak vest. When I first joined, we had flak vests. That was just for, you know, shrapnel, minor shrapnel. And then later on they weren't plate carrier, they're the ATA, something like that. They had the Velcro on the front. The Ranger bearing vest. A lot of them call them as the Ranger vest. And then they came out with the IOTV, that big monster that you just showed.
Oh yeah, it was the OTV. Yeah,
the OTV. Yep. And then they had the big one, and then they came out with plate carriers, especially for Afghanistan, where it was needed.
Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about. The multi-threat ones. These ones right here.
Yep.
These are the ones we had before. These ones were fine. They were light enough that they didn't get in the way, and you could still have your plates. And then they decided, hey, you know what would be a great idea? And the defense contractors need a bunch of money. Let's make new vests that are unwieldy and nobody will ever use in actual combat. Right? Like the guys that designed this never actually seen combat and didn't know what infantry needed. And so they're like, yeah, this is great because it gives them all the protection they need. And nobody used this. Nobody used this. Nobody used, well, I mean, we used this. But like everything in this was unwieldy and it overheated everybody because you were in a desert environment and you thought, hey, what's a great idea? Let's put more weight and stuff around the chest
Yeah.
so they can't breathe.
Yeah, I didn't use that at all. Even Iraq, I used the last ones you showed. And then Afghanistan actually used the plate carrier.
Yeah,
I never wore all that crap. They tried, man. I remember when we first got to Iraq, they tried to make everybody wear all those attachments. And then there was a lot of complaints, especially the guys that were on patrols and out there doing the work, doing the Lord's work. That's what I called it.
Yeah, doing the Lord's work, yeah.
They were complaining about it. Their mobility, they would slow them down. It would get in the way. It would get caught on things. So a lot of us just started.
It was hot.
We just started dropping that stuff off, and I was like, man, it is what it is. As long as I'm protected right here, I'm good.
Yeah, because as long as you had like a frog top or something, you were fine. Because then at least you had that thin material in front of you, so you could actually keep cool. But wearing like a normal, like every day, like no, it was going to be super hot. Like it was not comfortable. It was not fun. But that's what these defense contractors do: is they create things for the U.S. defense agencies to take and use, even though none of these people have practical experience in the field and know what needs to be done.
And we were talking backstage about these defense contractors, and I remember we talked about it, the Future Soldier program, the Future Soldier, where they had the eyepiece and they could see like it was a HUD like in video games, and their weapons were these big futuristic weapons, and they can shoot from like their eyepiece. Never saw that stuff, man. They were promoting it, they were talking about it, they were putting it in commercials as if we were using it, and we were all looking at those commercials like they're full of crap. We haven't even seen that stuff yet. It's a waste of money, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, like we talked about. And then one of the good examples was the recent viral video of Rep Mike Waltz holding up these the bag of insulator injector points. I thought they were bushings, but yeah.
This, Mr. Secretary, is a bag of bushings.
Okay, because he said bushings. That's why I said it.
This bag of bushings, stamped out by machinists, they need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000. This is a $90,000 bag of bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DoD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget. We can't afford it anymore.
And so that's what we're talking about. So we have an entire week of these people coming together to show off technology that they're never going to use.
That's right.
I mean, we still have some of the fun stuff, like the robot dogs, which is cool and all. But
I want
these
one.
Yeah, I would want one, but they're practically speaking, nobody's getting these. No frontline operators are going to get these, and they're only going to be like a handful of them, maybe.
Yeah, mainly go to like it's real freaking special operating jobs. I'm not saying all special operators
like
aren't real.
EOD makes sense.
I'm talking about
because they're
handling the different tiers.
Yeah.
So you see tiers like Delta Force. This is something Delta Force would use because their budget is different and they're just a different tier. Ranger Battalion would use something like this. Navy SEALs would use something like this. Maybe Green Berets. They might get some scraps. But you don't see regular line units unless they're EOD getting something like this. You're not going to see an infantry platoon get out the dog bot, and we're not going to get one of those. So it's a waste of money.
Just like this one. I mean, this one's cool and all. I mean, you could buy this as a civilian because it's $10,000. By the way, you could buy this, but this is the kind of technology that they're coming out with. And then I honestly question the practicality of what you're actually going to use in the field. Like that's just my question. It's like you're spending all this money on garbage, and it never gets any use. Like,
Yeah. So if I have a future mama out there, I want that for Christmas. Okay.
you want that for Christmas.
Yeah, if you're out there, no. But remember that show Black Mirror?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Remember they talked about this? That was years ago, and they were talking about these dogs.
Mhm.
So these dogs are going to be something that we're going to see. Things like that we're going to see running around. They've used it before in hostage situations, so they're being used already. That's nothing new. But you're going to see it a lot more in the future.
It's just, I know the defense budget is already astronomical to begin with, and they have a bunch of things that are sitting in armory somewhere that are never getting used.
Yeah.
Like, I know that for sure. Like, I brought up the ISMIT system before we started, and how that technology isn't anything new, and that's something that we've been using for a long time. I gotta find that video again because I took it off. But it's one of those things, like, even though we had it, they barely used it. Even when I was back in the early 2000s, it was barely used.
Yep.
Like, they were always wanting to go out for actual field time, actual training, physical training. Like, virtual training is cool and all, but nobody actually cares. Like, literally, it's like one of those things they do as a last resort if they have to, type of situation.
We use virtual training like if we didn't get our new quarterly budget and we didn't have the ammo to shoot, we would use virtual training, or we would use virtual training to gear up towards a live fire, to the actual shooting. So you would start off virtually with your AR-15s or M4s. Then you would move over to live fire in a zero range. It was all just a lead up until your qual.
Exactly.
It's fun.
So,
it's
like,
cool to use.
It's fun. It'd be cool as like a civilian thing, but like as a military thing, it's like it has its uses, but it's barely used. It was barely used when I was in, and I was even help running these systems before I got out. Like, I got certified on these systems, and I know how they work. And it's just like, it's just compressed air, man. That's all it is. And it's like, like and even worse is the programming on the actual computers and like the games. I would put it like that. The actual development of the software is rudimentary at best. Like, I'm sure you could give it to a game dev, and they would do much better with these systems than what these defense contractors do. Like, honestly, they've made better ones, like actual like military simulation games. Like Arma, for instance, is a better simulation game for actual military warfare, or hell, even Battlefield for that matter, would be a better simulation.
I've seen some really good simulators. Like when I was in mechanized infantry, we used to have the Bradley simulators, and we'd be joint with the tanks, and you'd be in a totally different system from someone else, but you can see each other maneuvering across the battlefield. And look, it was all virtual reality, or 360 degrees virtual. That was cool training, because we used it for maneuver reasons, how to control your formations while moving in vehicles. But there's nothing like actually getting out there
and doing it.
Doing the real thing.
Like, if anything, they should be investing in full system VRs, but they're not. I mean, that would actually have a more practical use, because it would actually give more of a 4-dimensional feel, right? You having these people run on mats and whatever, and then like actually have it on their head, so you can simulate a lot more things. But hey, whatever. That's just me. But this is what our country is doing. We're wasting money, and then at the same time, we have an economics advisor to President Biden that doesn't know how money works.
Of course, he's
so
President Biden guy.
Yeah, awkward moment when Biden economic advisor Jared Bernstein, however you pronounce that, admits he can't explain how money works. And I'm going to show you the video.
It's actually cringe when I said President Biden. I meant Biden.
I know, right?
Potato, because it cringed a little bit by giving him that title. But of course, I mean, that's why we're in the predicament we're in now. If your top advisor doesn't even know how money works, why is he talking to the American people, giving advice on money?
I know, right? So this is the interview, and prepare yourself, my friends. Prepare yourself, audience and chat. You are going to be very upset and very confused all at the same time. So here we go.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money. It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They
Not a vote of confidence when the guy that's supposed to be in charge of economic policy goes, "Is that what they do? They sell bonds, right?" Like asking the interviewer if they sell bonds. That's a thing, right?
Corruption at its finest, man, right there in front of your face.
I mean, I am so glad that we pay taxes for guys like this to have money.
Me too. I love taxes. YouTube.
I love taxes. Taxes are the thing that makes the world go round, even though all of our roads are shit.
Without taxes, we couldn't pay the police, we couldn't pay the military, the roads, all the stuff that was paid for before taxes were implemented. But I don't know.
The only thing that we know gets funding is the military, and even then, we don't know where that money goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
And so right after this, he went.
Anyway, I started blasting.
They print money.
Yeah.
That isn't tied to anything. So you can print it on this envelope. What is this envelope tied to? Nothing. So they put money that's tied to nothing, and then they give it to the American people, loan it to the American people for what? To charge you interest on that money. So it's not the money that has value, it's the interest that has the value.
Well, no. Okay, so here's how to explain basic monetary policy is that the money supply has a certain amount. It has a market cap, just like anything else, right? A business has a market cap. Stocks have market caps, right? And so anytime the government prints more money, it dilutes the share value. So think of all the bills that you own as shares, right? Mm-hmm. You have a certain amount of shares in the U.S. government, right? And when those shares get diluted by printing money, you get inflation. And the only way to reel back inflation is to get rid of the excess stocks that are in the market, which is taxes, right? And interest rates. These are the ways the government brings back all of the debt that's out there. So all the stocks that are floating out in the ether, they have to bring back into themselves, right? And so because of that, that's why the interest rates are so high. And that's why interest is where it's at now, is because they're trying to fix inflation, except that they can't, because inflation is now here to stay. It's not transitory anymore. It is now a solid thing. So what used to cost $1 now costs $2. Mm-hmm. And that's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So congratulations.
Oh, it can go away. There's a way. You know how you get it to go away? First. You have to force it. You have to force a crash. This is, and it's hard because Americans need a lot of the things that are out there. But if we stop participating, let's say we stop participating for a month, you fill up your tank, you fill up enough food, you get enough supplies that's going to last you a month, to where you don't have to go outside, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to pay for anything, you have everything you need right there. Your mortgage is paid, your rent is paid, all your bills are paid at the first of the month. Boom, 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 boom. You buy your food, you buy everything you need for that month. And for that whole month, you do not participate in one thing. There's a way to fix it. And the reason it's not fixed is it's our fault. Excuse me, because we're constantly participating.
Yeah. So, like, one of the things people seem to misunderstand is, like, when they ask, like, where does the U.S. owe money to? It's to the United States citizen, right? Because they use the citizen as collateral in order to get loans and benefits from the Fed, which people tend to forget. The Fed is not a government entity. It is a private corporation.
And
right?
taxes were never what?
Mandatory.
They were never ratified, right?
Yeah.
They were never ratified.
Originally, it was a voluntary system.
Yes, and it's still a voluntary system. See, they don't tell us that because it's a way to strike fear in us. If you don't pay, we're going to come take this, that, and this, that, and this, and all this other stuff, private property. But that's illegal because taxes aren't mandatory. Because if taxes were mandatory, every single homeless person, every single person that doesn't work, every single person would be behind bars.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Because that's what
behind
the feudal lords used to do, right? So, like, when you owed taxes, it didn't matter if you didn't have the money or not. It was mandatory. They came and beat you and got something from you, whether it be your labor or whether it be a piece of your family or something. They were taking something for taxes. There was no excuse. I don't have the money for taxes. You were getting taken for taxes.
Yep.
Right. So if taxes are not mandatory, then, like you said, why are all the homeless people or people without jobs or don't have any income don't have to pay taxes? Because it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
Also, because you have no money, we can't tax you. Well, that's not true. You could still tax us if you wanted to, but that would mean you would make it mandatory.
Yes.
And if it was mandatory, that means people couldn't get out of loopholes of paying no taxes or zero taxes and corporate taxes.
If it was mandatory, there'd be a lot of people behind bars right now. But it's not mandatory. They know it's not mandatory. But in order to keep people paying into the system, they have to strike fear in us.
Yeah. So there's also the other thing of them trying to put unrealized gain taxes. Now, Biden's operating under the assumption that he's like, mind you, this is the same guy that hired this dude that has no idea how money works, is saying that we need to raise taxes on capital gains and unrealized gains taxes. A new tax has never been used ever in the history of the United States. He wants to create in order to tax more individuals for things they didn't make money on in the first place. So, say you buy a house, right, and it increased in value. Oh, you have unrealized gain, right? That's what it is. So they're going to tax you on the new appraised value, not what you paid for it, right? So that new value is what you have to pay, but you don't have the money to pay the taxes. Well, I guess you're going to have to sell that asset, and now you're going to have to sell it at a loss. You have to pay the taxes and that, and so you're left out with nothing. Same thing with all the stocks. You buy a stock, it goes up in price. They say you have unrealized gains. That means you owe us money for the money you never made. And so you have to sell the stock in order to get the money to pay the taxes.
And don't worry, when you have to sell your property, the government's just going to come in and buy it. Right. And then we're going to sell you at a very minimal price. After you pay all your fines, if you pay back your taxes, you're just going to get a little bit from it. And then we're going to turn around and double it and sell it back on the market. But we're going to double the price.
But, that's only for the uber rich, right? But we're talking about people with over $400,000. But if you ask anybody in it right now, if you make $100,000 in California, you're broke.
Yeah.
Like,
and how come
the cost of living in a lot of places, $100,000 doesn't get what you used to get for $100,000.
Nope. That's why you gotta join forces.
That's like mid-range now.
Nowadays, you gotta have multiple people living in your house, bringing all your resources together and just living and surviving. Because it's hard out here by yourself, man. When you're by yourself, dude, it's hard out here in these streets. You can make it do what it do, but a lot more people are living with roommates, or they have multiple homes, or they have a spouse that works. They have multiple forms of income coming in because that's the only way people can survive.
Yep. That's the way it be. But like I said, it's like we have people that are running the show that have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea how the money system works. And so they're just making up rules as they go and destroying the system as it happens. And so that's so insane to me.
And since we're on the topic of money, the Labor Department's coming out talking about going after side hustles. So now inflation's up, prices of food are up, taxes are up, everything is up to where people are barely getting by monthly. So now they pick up a side hustle in order to make extra money. Now they're talking about getting rid of side hustles. They don't even want you out there making extra money to survive. They want you to be dirt poor, begging the government to help you. That's what they want. They don't want you out here doing it by yourself.
They also so here's the thing that they're not also talking about is the up and coming portion of AI and how it ties into the depopulation agenda. Right. Sorry, YouTube. I know you're going to hit me for that one, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they are trying that. I'm saying that everything that they're doing is leading to depopulation. Let's put it at that. Right. So it might not be the goal, but the outcome is still the same. Let's put it that way. So AI is going to replace most workers, including white collar workers, which is where we're seeing the most automation in the fields right now is in white collar work. Right. So all the people that are making it now are being pushed out by automation. Right. So all the artists, all the the web designers, all these things are going to get pushed out sooner rather than later. And the only thing that's going to be available are the hands-on trade jobs at the end, which they thought were going to get replaced by machines first. But in actuality, it was the white collar workers, which is funny. The irony of that is hilarious. So AI is leading to job loss, and they are also pushing for the idea of reducing population, which we're already seeing with the birth rates and everything else, and kill your kids and stuff like that through abortion. It's leading to a depopulation. So these people want less people because they have AI to do the systems that they normally would need people for. So they don't need as many people. So that's why you have people like Bill Gates and others that are saying we have too many people on the planet. We need to reduce it for climate change, right? Climate change. We need to reduce people because of climate change. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always been the goal, man, to reduce the population. They know they can't just go full out, taking people out, taking them out. So they have to find other means to take them out. Starve them out, make them go insane, make them go crazy, make them take their own lives, promote abortion, put stuff in the food to where it makes people, not be able to have children. So reducing the population comes in many forms. When people talk about reducing the population, they only think like, oh, they're just going to come over here and
they're going to round people up and do that.
They're just going to round people. No, that's not how it works. It's a gradual thing over time. They just want to slowly reduce it over time to where they can have a controlled population. They're here for the long haul, man.
Yeah, there was actually a clip I saw recently of Larry Fink of BlackRock saying that the Western powers that are facing population decline are actually in the positive because automation and AI are going to replace all these workers anyway. Paraphrasing, that's what he said. But that's what he meant. I need to find that clip, but that's what he said. Is that it's a good thing that these people are disappearing because automation was going to replace them anyway. And instead of having the problem of people being replaced from jobs and the economics getting worse because we have more people than jobs, then it's a good thing that they're having a population decline, even though we're already importing people, which goes against what that ideology is. It's just they want certain people not to be there anymore, right? They want people that are loyal to the system.
Yeah, it's certain generations, man, because this is why you see a lot of these kids, these Zers, and some of these, even some millennials, later millennials, they've totally bought into the system, a lot of them. And you got the boomers and the Gen Xers, man, and the elder millennials, we're like, oh, heck no. So it's our generation they have to get rid of, man. Once they get rid of that generation, the rest is already set. Those Gen Zers, they already got them where they want them. They got them exactly where they want them. They will be slaves to the system. They will do what they're told, when they're told, how they're told to do it. And not all.
Okay, here, I found that clip because I wanted to play that before we move on to the next thing because it's really important for people to understand what I'm talking about because it all ties into it. So you have people that don't know what they're talking about trying to come up with policies for everybody else, thinking that they know all and everything. So this is coming from this guy, Larry Fink himself.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. We always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in. shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries, the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly developing. For those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more extreme. And unfortunately,
how crazy is that? Right, just hearing it from the man yourself, like it's nuts, dude. Nuts.
Isn't he what, WEF guy?
Yeah, that's Larry Fink. That's the guy in charge of BlackRock.
Oh, saying crazy food. They keep pushing this population thing. You heard Bill Gates talk about it before. Yeah. You heard George Soros. You heard what's that other weirdo? Klaus talk about it.
Schwab.
They're all talking about this stuff. I mean, the Georgia Guidestones talked about it. Then they tore the Georgia Guidestones down because it proved that the Earth wasn't what they say it was. But it's right here in front of our face, and people aren't questioning it. They're just nodding their heads, and it's like one ear and out the other. You're not hearing what they're saying, what they're telling you.
So Barbara has volunteered to adopt you so you can get your fire-breathing dog for Mother's Day.
Awesome. When is Mother's
no.
Day?
So you can get her. Sorry, I misread that. So you can get her.
Sorry. No. I said me. No. When is Mother's Day?
No, it's true. I know it's funny. Like, what are these old ass people like thinking worse than Gen Z? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like they've lived their lives, and they're like, you know what would be great if we had less people.
Yeah, we already lived that. We had our fun.
So let's make sure that there's nobody else after us. That's how these people think. Honestly,
we have to save the Earth because we have that much power. They think they have that power, but they don't. It's been proven time and time again. Mother Earth is always in charge, and you're not going to stop it.
I'll give you my conspiracy theory. I think certain families of the world were upset when slavery went away, and so they've been trying to find a way to make it happen again. And so they just figured machines won't complain. And so they get free labor. It's always been about free labor. They've always been trying to get free labor back. And so they finally figured it out. And then now we don't need the people anymore.
Well, here's my conspiracy theory. A lot of those rich families are nothing more than reptilians. And they figured that the human race is becoming more aware and they're becoming harder to control. So we will replace them with things we can't control because they can't stop, the ascension process of the human mind or the human ascension process. And this is why we're getting so hard. We're starting to see a lot more. We're getting harder to control. So the only way to fix that is to create AI and robots because they're easy to control. We can't control them no more. So yeah, they're all reptilians, cabal, draconians, and that's true. That's been proven. And they're losing control.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
One way you can tell they're losing control is because of how Maxine Waters is acting.
Oh yeah. She's glitching.
The good old reptilian herself. She has floated a insane conspiracy theory for everybody to enjoy. So let's listen in.
This is a man who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with, who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack. This is a man.
So they're up in them hills.
Yeah.
Gonna figure out what communities they're going to go after. So up
now,
in them hills.
We watched this. I just sent you another one. If you got it. This is a follow up to this video. So just after this one, then play the next one.
This is that line, this lying dog face pony soldier thing. What is this?
It's the one with Maxine Waters. She's like walking up a hall.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that one is a follow up. So she said that. Now this is what this guy asked her.
Good morning, Congresswoman. Pretty good. What evidence do you have that Trump supporters are quote unquote like hanging out in the hills, getting ready to attack democracy, like what you said on MSNBC?
What'd you say?
You said on MSNBC the other day that Trump supporters were hanging out in the hills, getting ready to attack our democracy.
Yes.
What evidence of that do you have?
Well, someone called me who said he was a part of it and was mad at me because I found out about it.
But like, can you present some evidence?
Wait, what? Somebody called me and told me about it because they were mad at me about that. I found out. Like what? Like that? But you said it before you had evidence that they were doing it, and so you're saying some rando guy called you and said, "I can't believe you found about our secret plan."
Dang woman, who told you about our secret plan up in these hills? Does that even make any sense? What she said?
That sounds like something Dave Chappelle would have came up with when on the Chappelle show was still around, right? It's like they're up in them hills.
She made it up, and anybody that believes anything she says is just an idiot. She's a known liar. But watch what she says. She says something about they threatened to kill her or something.
Yeah, let's rewind it so we don't miss it. But yeah, here you go.
Who said he was a part of it and was mad at me because I found out about it.
But like, can you present some evidence? Because as like someone from MAGA country saying we're up in the hills is kind of offensive.
Then he threatened to kill me. It's like, if that's so, then somebody should be investigating that guy and going after them if that was the case, because you can't really threaten a member of Congress or the president for that matter.
Wouldn't that be all over the news, for one? For two,
oh yeah,
she's saying somebody that knew her, that she knew that they have a relationship, threatened to kill her. So who is this person?
Out in the hills,
I know, right?
Who is this?
There was one face that she made.
What evidence of that?
It was the Han deer that reminded me of like an old grandma. But I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, but when she was like, "Huh? What was that? What'd you say?"
Yeah, she had to come up with her lies. She heard it the first time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she did. But it's just funny that that's how they react to it.
These people, man, these people are so. And out of all people, her. You know, corrupt as corrupt could be. Liar, she's a liar. No one threatened you. No one called you and questioned you on what you said because you found out. What hills are you talking about?
I think she's thinking of when she was telling people to target certain individuals.
Oh, yeah, this.
I think she might have been confusing it with that.
Yeah.
Right. So what they're doing is wrong, but what you were doing was fine when you were whipping up an entire crowd to go after certain people that were in the administration, because they weren't welcome anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to see you here in our town.
American citizens voting in their best interests aren't welcome anymore because you don't vote in the left-wing communist best interests. You have to vote in their best interests in order to be accepted. Not your best interest, though. Whatever your best interests are, no one can tell you your best interests.
See, I would be more concerned about the people that are doing these things that were going after the Met Gala last night, right? Because MAGA is out there planning to do something while these guys are actually doing things in the streets and causing mayhem and destruction.
And laughing about it.
Yeah. So this is them yesterday trying to make it to the Met Gala to, I guess, protest that, even though, like, I don't know what that was going to do. I mean, it's a bunch of bougie people in a bunch of fancy dresses. Like,
Hunger Games.
These people are supposed to support you, so I don't know why you're trying to protest them in that way.
I honestly don't care about Met Gala. I wish they would have got there and destroyed the whole event because, you know, I have my own issues with the Met Gala, but they're not going to talk about these people. If these same pro-Palestine protesters did a Jan 6 event, they'd brush it off as just, oh, they're just protesting.
They've
They're
done worse.
exercising their,
We know that they've done worse in the
yeah, they're
past.
exercising their First Amendment right.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, their First Amendment right also includes defacing a World War I memorial with the Palestinian flag and
Which has
defacing
nothing to
it.
do with Palestine.
Yeah. So. And then burning the American flag in front of it as well. So I am glad that we live in such a oppressive regime that is the United States, that you are allowed to burn said regime's flag in front of a memorial to honor dead servicemen, and nothing happens to you. Because I can tell you what would happen to you in Russia.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you what would happen to you in Iran.
In China.
In China.
North Korea.
You know, I know what would happen in China. You'd be sent to some camps.
Oh, yeah. North Korea.
They make you disappear.
Afghanistan, all the countries that you're protesting for, you do that same thing in their country.
Yeah.
Do that.
I dare you to burn the Bible. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You can burn the Bible in the United States. You're fine. God forbid you burn anything else religious.
Yeah.
And you know which ones I'm talking about. I don't even need to say it. You know which one as soon as I said it. And that's how much sway these people have over you, is that certain things, anything that is anti-West and anti-American is perfectly fine to do in a place that allows you to have that free speech. But you say that this place is the worst place and most oppressive place in the entire world that allows you to do something most people find absolutely distasteful and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But you're perfectly fine. But yeah, no, you got to worry about the MAGA people up in them hills. Here's burning American flags in front of war memorials.
Here's what I hope. I hope all those people that are defacing American, monuments, or burning a flag, that are protesting at these schools, if they are not American citizens, they're here on a visa, they're either a student visa or work visa.
There's some Canadians that got caught.
All of them, they need to be sent back to their country, deported. See you later.
Yep.
That's just my belief. If you hate it here so much, go back to where you came from and then fix that place. Why come over here and try to turn this place into the place you just ran from, seeking asylum from?
Yeah. So I like one last clip before we move on to the Trump thing. We also have Karine Jean-Pierre, who has claimed, and here's the claim, is that violent crime is near 50-year low.
Oh my God.
So I want you to, I just showed you all the protesting and all the vandalism and everything that are happening, and all of the fact that they had to call the National Guard into New York City subways. But crime is at a 50-year low.
Under this president's leadership, President Biden, violent crime is at a nearly 50-year low. Thanks to the extraordinary efforts of law enforcement and community leaders, Americans are safer from violent crime today than they were a year ago.
I only have one thing for that. It's this.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
She has to be trolling to believe that.
She is. She's reading a script, dude. Look, she's reading it directly off the paper. She's not speaking from the heart. So she's just reading whatever one of her goofball aides slid in front of her, and she doesn't know if it's true. She doesn't know anything. She's just a robot who reads stuff.
A Rubit. Good old Rubit. Yeah, so she has about as much use as a flamethrowing robot dog.
Yeah.
Which I think that's actually an insult to the flamethrowing robot dog.
She has about as much use as toenail clippings.
Right. So today was a big day for Trump. We had Stormy Daniels on stage.
Mid.
Unintended.
She's mid.
I know she is. It's like she's way past her expiration date. But yeah, Stormy Daniels told us almost all about alleged sexual encounter with Trump, even though she's already admitted that there doesn't exist, and she also owes him money for saying that it happened. Which is really funny to me that they didn't really bring that up. The fact that she's made money, they did bring it up in the trial that she has made money off of saying she had a sexual encounter with Trump. But then she's like, "But I also lost money."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you lost money because you lied about it, and then you lost in court.
I
And
mean,
now you have to pay legal fees.
Yeah, it's no different than that other crazy chick who pretty much lied.
Jean Carroll?
Yeah.
Be careful that you don't want to defame her. You can't say too much; she'll come after you, man.
I'm not defaming her. She's nothing to me. So,
right. This is my personal opinion. I think she's
yeah,
a crazy
it's my
cat
personal.
lady.
Yeah, they just run with these fake stories. Anything that comes out, they run with it. They plaster it all over the news. They let it do its damage, and then it comes back. It's not true every time, every single time, because it's already done the damage that it's supposed to do.
Yep, they already did the damages. So I want to start off with like this is right after all that happened. Donald Trump had his statement. Let's go ahead and play that for everybody so we can address it and react to it. So Donald Trump in perfect form as always, coming out and commanding presence. I don't like the tie though. This is a gold tie on the blue. It's weird.
What do you think of Stormy's testimony?
So this was a very big day, a very revealing day. As you see, their case is totally falling apart. They have nothing on books and records, and even something that should bear very little relationship to the case. It's just a disaster for the DA, for the Soros-backed DA. It's a disaster. This whole case is just a disaster. If you read the legal scholars, you'll see, because they're writing about it, they've never seen anything quite like it.
Right.
And neither have I. I should be out campaigning right now. We're leading in all the polls. I'd like to be campaigning. We'd be leading by a lot more.
Which is true. And one of the issues in this we're going to cover in a second is the fact that the judge put a gag order on Trump where he can't actually speak in public about this case, even though the people that are being witnesses against him are directly attacking his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not allowed to defend himself, and which is what he's been trying to do. And the judge said no, and that's a violation. And so they fined him a grand total of $9,000. But each one of those offenses come with a 30-day jail time if the judge wants to. And that's going to be the big thing.
Yeah, of course. We know what this is about, man. We know it's about election interference. We know it's a way to slow down his campaign. And again, they think all this stuff that they're doing is going to stop his base from voting for him. It's not going to stop him. Trump at this point doesn't have to campaign. He doesn't have to do any rallies. He doesn't even have to debate old Uncle Potato. So whatever they do, it's not going to stop.
Yep.
It's not going to stop him. So do what you got to do, man. His voters are still going to vote for him. And if the election happens, Donald Trump will win in a landslide. And they know this.
Yep. They know. And so here, let's continue.
I appreciate the job you're doing. It's not easy standing there all day waiting, but you're hearing the same things that we're hearing. On another matter, as you know, it's Biden's backers that seem to be funding what's going on with the Palestinians. They're probably not Palestinians, they're agitators, bad agitators, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our government ought to find out who they are, where they're from, and treat them the same way as they do the J6 hostages. You got to treat them the same way. These are agitators. They're really hurting our country. It's happening all over the country in cities. You saw what happened last night at the Metropolitan Museum. These are agitators. And in some of the colleges, I think it's about 20% student and 80% others. So this is a big problem, and they better nip it on the bud. And
these are called tourists, by the way, if you don't know. Tourists are people that are paid protesters. They go from place to place protesting.
Mm-hmm. Been proven, too.
Yeah. They get paid to do this. It's not the first time that they've done it. And they did it a lot during 2020 to provoke a lot of that stuff.
And we talked about it a few episodes ago, too, how this is all paid and bought, and we know who's doing it, and they need to find him and arrest him. Stop playing games.
Yeah, they can't, though.
It's a problem from the left, not from the right. This is a problem from the left.
But they're up in them hills, Trump. Didn't you know?
I hope you're going to stress that. The economy is not doing well. You see inflation is through the roof. They're not going to be able to lower interest rates. If they do, it's purely political. But but it'll be very bad if they do from the standpoint of getting rid of inflation. You have to get rid of the inflation. Inflation, as you probably have heard me say, it's a country buster.
Right, and as we showed you, the economic advisor to Biden earlier in this video has no idea how money works.
Yep.
But they're saying everything is under control. Everything's just fine.
It busts countries, and it has for 1,000 years. You go back and you look at old-time Germany, you look at a lot of countries that went through the kind of inflation we're going through, and they're busted. They are just broken up in many cases into little pieces, and that's what could actually happen to us. So we have to get inflation under control. We have to get prices down so that people can breathe, people can live, so they can live. But again, this was a very revealing day in court. Any honest reporter would say that. I would recommend you read Jonathan Turley and Andrew McCarthy and Alan Dershowitz, Greg Jarrett, Mark Levin, very talented people, and others. There's some incredible people out there that are writing about this trial. They're calling it a disgrace. It's a disgrace. In the meantime, I'm stuck. I'm here. Instead of being in Georgia, instead of being in New Hampshire, instead of being in Wisconsin, and all the different states that we wanted to be in, we're not able to be there because we're stuck in this trial, which everyone knows is a hoax. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So he's right, because everything that they've done up until this point has always been about the election. It hasn't been anything to do with Donald Trump himself or if he's guilty or not. Because look how they treated Weinstein in New York, right? So they let him off.
Yep.
Right. So, and like, if they really wanted to go after people who nobody's above the law, there are certain individuals we know have committed offenses that should probably be in jail. Like, there's an entire client list of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell that have yet to be investigated or anything to come out of that investigation. It's already been 4 years, and she's in jail for sex trafficking to nobody. I want to repeat that. She was arrested and sent to jail for sex trafficking to nobody.
And, you know, if Donald Trump was to drop out tomorrow, you would not hear about this case. They'd be jumping for joy. They'd be happy. The case would disappear. You wouldn't hear about it anymore as long as Donald Trump just went away and retired. So they know exactly what they're doing, man. It's a way to disrupt the election. It's a form of election interference because they actually think that what they're doing is going to stop him from gaining momentum. I mean, just look at the numbers right now, dude. They're not going to stop the man. No matter, they can throw 100 more indictments at him. It's not going to stop it. Because people are starting to see, like you said, people are starting to see it. They're starting to understand, like, wait, something's not right here.
Yep. And that's what we're facing right now, is that Trump could be jailed at Rikers Island for violating gag order, right? Experts say it's possible, and Eric Adams is prepared, which is true because he actually said it in a press conference. Let me bring that up real quick. This is him talking about it. So they're asking him, is New York prepared if Donald Trump goes to jail? And then you'll see this woman right here start laughing and giggling about it.
City, I'm happy.
Hey, Mayor. So at President Trump's trial, they were talking about how he might end up in jail if he continues to violate his court orders. Is Rikers prepared for that? Have you guys had those discussions yet? And if so, what would that even look like?
Our amazing commissioner, she is prepared for whatever comes on Rikers Island. I'm pretty sure she would be prepared to manage and deal with the
I'm guessing that's the commissioner.
See what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. We have to adjust, you know, in this business, particularly around law enforcement, we have to adjust whatever comes our way. But, you know, we don't want to deal with a hypothetical, but they're professionals. They'll be ready.
I bet they will.
I'm sorry?
They won't be ready.
Discussions with corrections about that situation?
Yeah.
No, they're not, because this has never happened before. No president has been arrested.
And it's not going to happen. That'd be a huge mistake on their end.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
So the whole thing comes down to is that he violated the gag order, right? So like Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen were talking shit about Trump and his campaign, and he replied to them, right, and said how stupid this whole thing is, right. And for that, he was hit with the gag order violation, right. And so that in New York City, that law gives you 30 days in jail per violation. He was hit with 9 violations, right. So he was hit with, it's either $1,000 or 30 days in jail, right. So each violation comes up with 30 days. It can be conserved consecutively, or it can even be spaced out one after the other. It's up to the discretion of the judge. Knowing the judge, who is, by the way, I want you to know that his daughter is getting contributions off of this trial. By the way, he should have recused himself. But that's just how corrupt this entire thing is in the first place. Is they have no idea what the underlying crime that they're saying is what they're saying is a felony was election interference. That's what they're saying with the underlying crime, man. Even though that wasn't a crime, there's no statute attached to that crime. So that's how they turn misdemeanors into a felony, and how the statute of limitations, even though it's expired, has made its way into the court. Right? It's because of lies. All of this thing is hinged on lies, and everybody knows it. It's just nobody wants to call it out for what it is, especially in the mainstream media. None of these people want to say how stupid the whole thing is.
They will.
So I mean, but there are times when the CNN types actually say things that are true. It happens like twice a day. They broke the clock.
Jurors, Casey?
Just one thing that I've been sort of noticing as this has gone on is that there have been a couple times where she seems to be cracking a joke, trying to get a reaction from the jury, and our reporters in the room have noted that the jury hasn't seemed to respond
No, they're
to
taking
that.
their job seriously.
I mean, what do you make of that?
Humor is risky in the courtroom, especially if you go in with lines, like it looks like Stormy. If something happens spontaneously, if an easel falls over, people will laugh. They're human. But it's never going to work if you go in there like, I'm going to amuse the jury. I'm going to sort of say this clever thing.
Jurors, Casey?
So, like I said, even they get right. So, like, her testimony has not gone over well with the jury.
Of course.
Because she's trying to be personable, but she's not very personable. And then you have the likes of Pisaki. I'm intentionally saying
not to be too morbid, but maybe, I think many of them want to be close to power. They also assume or have this thought in their mind that maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die, not to be too morbid, but maybe, he's not a young man. I think many of them want.
So, I mean, that's what they're hoping for, is it's just like Donald Trump will go away.
Yeah, that's what they want.
He's not going away.
He's not.
They should know by now that he's not going away.
They get rid of him. There's always somebody else waiting. Donald Trump's not a dumb man. He plans the plan. He has a plan for the plan for the plan. So if something does happen, God forbid, and he does disappear, he decides to drop out, or he decides just to go away, they lock him up, whatever they plan on doing, those reptilians, I guarantee somebody else is waiting. And anything Donald Trump has, he's going to hand it off to the next person. And the next person's just going to wait for their moment. And they're going to come in hard. So it doesn't matter what they do, man. They're clowns. They're all corrupt. They all kiss the ring of the WEF and the WHO and all these other people. So they've already sold their souls. So no matter, they know they're lying. They know they're making it up. They don't care, though, because they don't answer to anyone but whoever is in charge. I don't know who's in charge, man. Somebody up there, that Satan himself. That's who they answer to.
The reptilians, man. The reptilians are.
Oh yeah, the reptilians for sure.
But it's so insane. Like, they think that they're going to knock Donald Trump out, but honestly, like, it's coming down to, I think he's going to be the only choice, even for the establishment, because of how the Palestinian protests and everything that's been going on with Israel is backfiring in their face, and they want Israel to. They want that conflict to happen. They want all that stuff to continue. So the only person who's probably going to allow them to do so is going to be Trump. Whereas Biden, because of his base being so fervent defenders of the Palestinians and Hamas, it's going to be hard to convince that voting population to vote for you if you're actively working against them. But they're not going to have any choice. So we'll see how 2024 shapes out. I was going to cover the Helldivers 2 thing, but I'll save it for Thursday instead. And tomorrow we're going to be talking. What was it about? It was about the protest. Yeah, we're going to talk more on it.
Yeah, it's about some lady that was talking about how blacks
Oh, right. You're right. Because like
can't use a computer or some crazy.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it changed. We were going to do that, but now we're talking about Kathy Hochul.
Yeah.
And how stupid she is.
They're all stupid.
Right up there with the other chick. What was her name? Freaking Christy Nome and shooting her dog. I should talk about that.
They're all corrupt and dumb.
Yeah.
We're gonna make fun of them daily.
Yeah, like I don't know what Christy Nome was thinking when she put in a book that she killed a puppy. Did you honestly think that was gonna go over well? Like legitimately. I don't know who write that.
Well, anything these people do, they think that no one's gonna pay attention. They always think it's gonna go over well.
Yeah.
That's in their head because a lot of them think they're untouchable. They think they can do and say what they want and there's no repercussions to what I do and say. Well, you found out the hard way that there are repercussions to everything you do. There's consequences to everything you do.
She killed her career. That's all there is to it. She killed her career and she's done for that. So
good.
Yes. We will be on tomorrow night with the Savage Patriots and then back on Thursday as well. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, clip, spread it like herpes. That's the best way.
It's not like herpes. We don't want that.
Give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Give it to everyone.
Gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Sorry. My bad joke for the day. All right. We'll see you all next time, folks. We love you, America, and we are
out. War.